Story 1. I received a mystery call from another continent, claiming that they're my daughter, and are a result of a wild work trip with her mother, but now that DNA tests confirm she is my progeny, what the hell do I even do? I feel just as you would imagine. But it gets worse. She lives in the US, and I'm in Europe. I don't know how to handle this. So what happened is that months ago I got a call from a US number. I didn't answer since I don't know anyone there. Then, the same day, I received another call from the same number, so I answered, ready to yell at some scammer. A girl on the other side introduced herself and just said that she thinks I might be her father. That was the first thing she said. Hi, my name is Emily, and I think you might be my father. Obviously, I told her I don't have any children and that she had the wrong number. But then she dropped a name I hadn't heard in, you guessed it, 18 years. Back around that time, I was in the US for a year on a job exchange with our sister company. I met a woman there, and we got together over maybe a few months. I remember buying future child defense after meeting her, but I can't remember if we used them every time. Anyway, I gave her my non-US number but never heard from her again. The girl on the phone asked me if my name was Luke, and I freaked and almost hung up on her. She told me more about her mother, and I just sat there like an idiot. She'd found my name and number in her mother's diary, and now, as she turned 18, she wanted to contact me. She lives with her relatives now since her mother is unable to take care of herself for some reason. I still don't know the details there. She asked me if I'd be willing to do an ancestry DNA test and even offered to pay for it. She ended by saying I should think about it and asked if she could call me again. I just said sure, and we hung up. I swear I was about to faint right then and there. The whole conversation lasted only like 5 minutes. I ended up taking the test, and we talked a few more times. The test took forever, but yesterday she sent me a screenshot of her profile matching 50% to mine. I mean, that's just it, right? We haven't spoken since, just messaged some. I lied and told her I've been busy and we'll talk later, which now makes me feel like an ass. Up until this point, I've kept it together, holding on to the thought that I'm probably not the dad, but now I can't deny it. It's probably been half my life since I last cried. I haven't told anyone this. I was kinda hoping the DNA test would come back negative, and then I wouldn't have to. How do I even break this to my family? I just know they'll all want her number so they can call her, and then they would start flying over to see her or bringing her here. They're really pushy like that. My mom is going to freak out. I don't see my family more than a few times a year, but we'll all get together during Easter. Should I do it then with all of them at once or one at a time? I have a picture of Emily, but not much more info than what I've said here. I'm the youngest sibling, and now I suddenly have the oldest of the cousins in the next generation. And I never wanted kids at all. I just don't like them and hate being tied up. I even had a vasectomy since then. And that's the easy part. The real problem is what to say to Emily. Can some sane person give an example of what to say? I've promised to call her tomorrow. Has anyone discovered they have an unknown child? If so, what did you do? How did it go? How did you connect? What happened when you met for the first time? What did your family say? I'm a bit embarrassed by this, but is there any risk of me having to pay child support retroactively? I can probably afford it, but I don't really want to. Edit. I apologize for the abomination of yap. I blame the drink. Some seem to have the impression that I and or my family are wealthy. This is not so. I wrote in a comment that knowing my family, they would probably rent a private jet and fly her here. That was a joke commenting on what they would want to do, not what they would do. No, I'm not wealthy either. In the post I said, I can probably afford it, but I don't really want to, and I meant that I'd hate to suddenly have something like 10% of my savings left overnight, just guessing here, no idea what the actual sum would have been. I'm sure anyone here would consider that factor. Anyway, someone said the limit is 3 years back. I didn't know that. I can be an asshole sometimes, but I'm not some monster. The money question was a question, not the question. Yes, I've had my number for a long time. Never had a reason to change it. We had our first video call today, and it was a long conversation. I had a list of things to bring up, mostly from suggestions here, so ever thankful for that. Most of it was quite personal for both of us, so I won't say it here. But it boils down to that we both want to continue to stay in touch and get to know each other. We also want to meet at some point, even if we don't know when yet. Her family knows of me, and they will join a call in the future so I can speak to them as well. I will hold off on telling my family for a while, but I will probably tell them one at a time. Relevant comments. I do an actual paternity test, but I think that the circumstantial evidence alone supports that this kid is in fact yours. What to do? Well, first, if you have a partner, tell them. Next, tell your kid, listen, here are the circumstances of how I met your mom. I had no idea about you and this is quite shocking news, so I apologize if I don't get this all right on the first go. And then talk. Find out what she wants out of this. Take it slowly. Update. A while back, I made a post asking for advice. Back then, I had just had it confirmed by DNA that I had a daughter I never knew about. Emily is the result of me hooking up with a woman while I was in the US working. It was really interesting to read about others' experiences in the comments and DMs. It's crazy what DNA tests have done in recent times. Some said that Emily is probably just a kid looking for her roots, and you were absolutely right. I've been getting a steady stream of DMs since my last post. Most have been nice, just asking for an update. Then there were the absolute nutcases who can't read and told me to drown myself. Hi to you too. Emily and I continued to talk after my last post. Mostly about her life, her mother, and the family trees, etc. I never thought I would connect with her like I did. She's a very intelligent and mature young woman. My family knows now, and it went better than expected. Mom and sister still went a bit apecrap, but Dad knocked them out with a large club he always carries with him. To the nutcases, no, that last bit didn't actually happen. Funny thing, my brother-in-law actually distracted Mom by reminding her that she has made sweaters for all the other grandkids, but now she's way behind on one. All of them understandably wanted to call her, but my daughter, yes, it's pretty cool to be able to say that, and I had already planned to have that call the following day. And it went really well. We made introductions, explained everything that had happened, and that we planned for me to meet her by myself before anything. And guess what, we did meet. I flew over for a 10-day stay since I'm on leave, and she's working during the summer. That way, we could hang out in the evenings and weekends, and I could go full tourist during the day. It was surreal from the start. I landed at the very same airport I left from almost 2 decades ago, and she was there to meet me together with her aunt. I can't describe with words what it was like to hug her for the first time. I'd seen her many times in video calls, but she was just so beautiful in real life that I started crying. I met so many people in the first couple of days that I can't remember the names of half of them. I gave her the sweater from my mother, a hand-drawn family tree from my niece, and a gift I made myself, but I won't tell what that one was. While I, still, don't agree with the Georgia weather, I had a blast during the days just walking around town. I went to Emily's workplace almost every day and pretended to be a regular customer. We had lunch and dinners either alone or with the rest of her mother's side of the family. All of them were so nice and welcoming to me. I visited their house every day but chose to stay at a hotel since I didn't want to be a bother or impose myself too hard on Emily's life. Obviously, Emily and I talked a lot. About anything and everything, but mostly about her upbringing and her mother. I mentioned in the previous post that her mother wasn't able to care for Emily. I didn't press that subject much at first, but it was unavoidable after a while. I won't get into all the details, but her mother is sick and has lost some cognitive functions. She recognizes Emily and some family members well enough, others, not so much. We went to visit the facility where she lives, and Emily introduced me by name, and not as her father. She sadly didn't recognize me, so I stayed in the background for the remainder of our stay. Seeing a woman not much older than myself in such a state was a somber experience. So yeah, that was me yapping a bit about what happened after my last post. There was obviously a lot more, but most of it is deeply personal and emotional, and I won't go through it here. I'm back home, and we are keeping communications open. I'm definitely going to fly Emily over here at some point when life allows it. But other than that, we have no specific plans for the future. Thanks for all the help. Hope you all have a nice day. Story 2.
My fiancé's religious family are throwing their toys out of the pram because our wedding falls on a holy day, so they refuse to attend our wedding, but they're not even religious. Over the weekend, my amazing fiancé of 5 years proposed. I'm a very type A person, so right away I wanted to start looking at venues because I knew the month and year I wanted. There are so many reasons why I wanted to get married in the month of April. Just some examples: my parents got married in April. My siblings got married in April. My fiancé and I met in April. His favorite month is April due to how much he loves the weather. Spring is also my favorite season. Just a bunch of reasons combined to the perfect month. We also need to get married next year for personal reasons, which is why we're so specific about the year. After searching about 10 venues, we found the one we love. We knew it was going to be our venue because when we both walked into it, we got emotional. We sat down with the owner, and he gave us some amazing deals because he could tell we loved the venue, so we set the date. I reached out to his mom to let her know we had set a date, and she immediately called me to say we set the date on a very important religious holiday for her and her parents. I asked her if this was a big deal. Neither my fiancé nor I are religious, and to be honest, I didn't even know they were that religious. Just as an example, my fiancé isn't even baptized, and as a family, they celebrate all the generic holidays but don't go to church or pray. In fact, he is so not religious that he didn't even know the holiday fell on this day until she told us. She said it is the most important holiday in her religion, and due to this, she will not be able to attend our wedding, nor will her parents, as they are even more religious than she is. His dad will come because they are divorced, and he is putting his son over the religious date. I reached out to my mother to confirm that this was a bad idea, and she asked around. A few of her friends who are also of this religion told her that while this is an important holiday, none of them would miss our wedding for it. Only my fiancé's mom and grandparents are making a big deal. I asked my fiancé what he wanted to do. This is his decision to make, not mine, and he told me that he refuses to give up our dream venue on the only Sunday they have available to please his mother and grandparents who aren't even that religious. So we didn't change the date and told them they are welcome to not join us even if that breaks our hearts. Well, now his mother and grandparents are refusing to talk to us because we won't change the date of our wedding. So are we wrong for not wanting to change the date of our wedding? Update 1. After a sleepless night and reading over 300 comments, I have come to a few decisions. But first, thank you. Thank you to everybody who made me feel like the bride I deserve to be by telling me that my day and my fiancé's support is the most important thing. And for those of you who think I was the imbecilic, absolutely a fair point, but one thing that was not understood was that this decision was made strictly by my fiancé. The ball was completely in his court. I already had another venue booked to look at to replace our current venue. He decided that his grandparents' response was not worth his time, as they should have respected him as a person, not as a religious person. I told my fiancé that I was not willing to have a sleepless year of worrying if his mom and grandparents would show up to the wedding. So we came up with 3 game plans, all of which we are going to bring up with the venue on Saturday. First option, keep our current date because we already put $5,000 down, but look at other venues that may have another date available, and if we find a venue we love just as much, we will just lose our $5,000 deposit. But if we are unable to find another venue we love, we ask this venue to keep us on a wait list, as maybe one of the Sundays will clear up. Second option, ask his grandparents and mother for the money for the difference for a Saturday versus Sunday wedding, since there is currently one Saturday still available. We think this is a fair ask because something that wasn't mentioned is that his grandparents are very well off financially. Final option, ask his mother and grandparents what time would work best for them if we kept the date. We believe that we can both have the wedding and celebrate the holiday, but that may mean that some other guests will not be able to attend because the wedding will be too early or too late. But at least his family will be there. Hopefully, one of these options works, but I won't have another update until Saturday. Update 2. So I have the final update for anyone who's still interested. Well, I just got back from our venue, and I have the greatest news ever. He was able to give us a different date. Not only a different date but a Saturday for the same price he was giving us for a Sunday. I will say that it wasn't easy to get him to agree to this. But after a few tears, my parents getting involved, and having to explain to him that we might not go with the venue at all, he agreed. But, with the stipulation that another bride has to take our Sunday. So if something happens between now and next year in which he can't fill that Sunday, then we are going to unfortunately have to pay the price difference. But I have a lot of faith that brides will be interested in that date, as he has 3 appointments this week alone for brides looking for that same month. As for my fiancé's mother and grandparents, it turns out I wasn't the asshat at all. Once we called them with excitement to let them know we changed to a Saturday, they said they were not going to be able to attend as they have church or temple early in the morning on Sundays and cannot afford to stay out late Saturdays. Cute considering they've never once been to church or temple the entire time I've known them. But at least his mother saw their ways and agreed she would no longer follow their rules and wouldn't be influenced by their behaviors. Thank you all for everything and cheers to being a 2025 Saturday bride. Relevant comments. But what's their endgame here? I don't see what they gain from this. They missed the wedding after you guys bent over backwards to change the date to please them, and now they not only miss the wedding of their grandson but also alienate part of their family. That just doesn't make sense to me. Honestly, I can't read their mind. But what I can say is that I would do anything to have my grandparents back, but unfortunately, all grandparents pass away. So at the end of the day, my poor fiancé is going to forever have that in his mind when they pass away as his grandparents who didn't even go to his wedding. So I just have to support him with this because I don't think he'll ever forgive them, not even when they die.
Story 3. My best friend accused me of being ableist because I don't want a shedding service dog in my house, but I'm not. I just don't like dogs, and I think they're plotting my demise. Yep, I don't like dogs, never been fond of them, but I don't judge people who have dogs as long as they are responsible. I have a group of friends, and we like to host events at our houses like parties, potlucks, game nights, etc. About 2 months ago, my friend got a service dog for her seizures, and I was already planning on hosting a potluck, but I didn't want a dog in my house. She sheds a lot. So, I decided to choose a camping area where we could all have fun and enjoy ourselves, since it would be so wrong to deny my friend from coming over with a dog that she needs. This has been going on ever since my friend, Sarah, got a service dog. Today was my turn to host, and one of my friends, Jacob, suggested we do a game night. I told them that I would rather have events outside of my house, and, well, we don't have anything to connect my PS4 outside. I suggested maybe we can do a movie night instead and go out to the movies. Jacob was confused and asked why I stopped doing game nights at my house. I explained that I don't want animals. I'm so sorry, I said. Pets, that was wrong of me, I didn't catch that, in my house, let alone a dog that sheds. No one batted an eye, but Sarah started to question me, like if she's no longer welcome in my house, if I am ableist. I told her that I would rather host things outside of my house if she's going to need a service dog. The times we all spend together are arranged in advance. I chose to do things away from my house so that I wouldn't have to have the dog in my house. If I had the type of arrangement that meant coming over to my house, I would make myself put up with a hairy situation, but I don't have to in this current arrangement. Sarah was not having it and started to call me ableist and unfair to her and her dog, saying that I've changed ever since she had her service dog. I was baffled by everything she was saying. We ended up not hosting anything, and it became so awkward that everybody started to leave the group call. I honestly can't tell if I should be ashamed of myself. Am I wrong, guys? What should I do to sort this all out? Edit. I'm seeing several comments saying I should have told her beforehand. The thought of telling her that she and her dog aren't welcome anymore, therefore no one else in the group is, just feels mean. But if anyone has suggestions on how I can word that for future reference, feel free to do so. Update 1. Hi, guys. I want to thank y'all for the input and advice on my last post. I have a small update regarding my last post and it is a good ending rather than an ugly one. I talked to Sarah and apologized for making it seem like she wasn't valid enough to be in my home and that she felt hurt about it. We talked about it and while Sarah still feels iffy and left out, we're still on good terms. Although she sometimes has her cold moments, I understand. I feel like later on we'll get past it and get over it. Update 2. I'm honestly still shocked about everything that has happened. All was fine for a couple of days, or so I thought. Sarah showed up uninvited, never happened before and I don't like uninvited guests but I let it slide this one time because she was my friend, with her service dog, golden retriever, and, what I believe, her mom's regular pet dog, husky mix. The husky was panting and trying to jump on me but I would back away and slightly hold the door closed while poking my head out. For now, Sarah was holding him back from his collar, key word, for now. I asked her what's up and she said she wanted to drop off some cookies for me. I smiled and thanked her because I thought it was nice, she even made them herself. She said she also wanted to pick up something that Ed, part of the friend group of 4, left here, like a keychain or some small decoration. I'll call it a keychain, it looked like a keychain to me. Ed lives the farthest so supposedly Sarah came over to pick it up for him and give it to him on the day she hosts since it was her turn this weekend, and I told her sure and asked what it looked like. She waltzes right in with both dogs, and I stopped her to ask, whoa, what are you doing? She looks at me confused and says, I'm going to get Ed's keychain. I told her that if she wants to get it herself, she cannot bring the dog inside, only her service dog, so take the other dog outside. She made a frowny face and said, he's an emotional support dog. I told her that it is not the same and that I wouldn't allow him inside. She pouted and said, fine, let me just text Ed and let him know I'll take a little longer. From there, she set both of their leashes down and her husky went bonkers. Needless to say, I kicked her out and her mom's dog made a whole mess, including jumping on me and licking my face. I still can't get over the fact that he broke the vase my mother, who is no longer with us, gave me. It was so beautiful and I've had it for 12 years. Sarah apologized, and I got her the keychain, which I could have easily brought over and given to Ed. After that, I cleaned up for a bit and took a shower. That night, I decided to snack on some cookies and all hell broke loose after a while of eating them. I ate like 10 plus whole cookies. I started to swell up and struggle to breathe, so I went to look for my EpiPen. I hadn't used it in a long time, so I couldn't remember where I put it, but when I found it, I used it and immediately headed to the hospital in case my allergies persisted once the EpiPen's effects wore off. I got home with my medication and another EpiPen, which I will bring with me at all times from now on after that traumatic nightmare. As upset as I was about Sarah being cold to me and bringing her mom's emotional support dog to my house, I still gave her the benefit of the doubt and thought she forgot that I had a nut allergy. I brought it up in a text and told her about what happened. She apologized and acted all mortified. The conversation later shifted to her mentioning the whole "why can't I come in with my dogs?" I repeated to her that her service dog could come in but not a pet dog. It became an argument, and she dropped a bomb on me with a huge wall of text, ending with, and I quote, copy-paste, "This is why I put pecans in your bloody cookies. If you want to play ableist, then so will I." Smiley face. A bit of context, Sarah was diagnosed with BPD. Please be aware that not everyone with BPD is like this, so I understand how she feels because I have BPD myself, but this has gone way too far. I've been contemplating whether I should file a claim or not, and I know that sounds stupid. We've been best friends since middle school, and I've always seen her as a really close sister, but this friend wanted to harm me, and it hurt so much that she went this far for revenge. Anyway, I'm taking legal action tomorrow, but I'm not sure I'll give an update about this. I've made screenshots and have blocked her everywhere. I'm still keeping a low profile so that she doesn't delete the messages, hopefully. Thanks for your help and wish me luck. Story 4.
My friend's insecure new girlfriend is labeling me a typical pick-and-girl best friend, and that I am only friends with him to lure him into my bed, so she's planning on jumping me with her gang. Miles and I have known each other since we were 2 because our parents are best friends, and we're now in our early 20s. I would not say Miles is my best friend. He is a good friend, and we do hang out on occasion, but we see each other on all major holidays because of our parents. The problem started because of a dumb childhood memory. When we were 8, we had a wedding play during school aftercare. I played the bride, and Miles the groom. It was a play with horrible songs and uncoordinated kids. Of course, our parents took pictures and videos of that. Each of us has one picture on our family picture walls. Anyway, Miles is dating Lindy. They met 3 years ago and started dating last year. It's clear Lindy does not like me. So every time we coincide at a celebration, she makes a comment about me being the typical girl best friend. She once said that I secretly wanted to sleep with Miles. I have no clue where she got that impression. Miles and I have different friend groups and schedules. Besides the monthly catch-up over food, we don't really meet that much. Things got worse when Lindy saw the wedding play picture. The comments just increased. She even started DMing me on Instagram, saying she knew what game I was playing. I talked to Miles once about this, and he told me to give her time. So his birthday was on Saturday, and I was invited. Lindy wrote to me saying something along the lines that she was going to supervise me. This was their first birthday as a couple, and I was not allowed to take up his time. I was honestly just fed up. I tried talking to Miles once more, but he said the same thing. So I just skipped out. When the party started, I wrote a quick, "Sorry, I can't come," and told him my mother was going to bring his present. Now he is upset with me for missing his birthday. Lindy is mad that I made it all about myself, and my parents are upset I missed a family function. Was this fair of me, or did I go too far? Edit. I didn't show anyone the messages because I didn't want to make more out of this than it is. I didn't want to poison anyone against Lindy, especially not if she is a new fixture in Miles's life. That would make both our lives more difficult. I hope that just talking about it might be the more adult thing to do. My parents are not mad at me or blowing up my phone. They and Miles's parents were just bummed out that this was the first birthday I ever missed. As to why she is jealous, I have no idea. Neither of our parents ever wanted us to get together. There were no jokes or anything about it, and I think they also never would want that. The wedding play picture is in the living rooms because they loved the picture and it was our first play. Update 1. After my post, I talked to Miles. At first, he was kind of mad and thought I had been blowing things out of proportion. We came to the conclusion of taking more distance while he figures this all out, mainly because I did not want the added stress of petty drama. Then I talked to my parents and explained to them what was going on. They were really upset by how Lindy treated me. Obviously, they weren't going to get involved, but it was nice to get that off my chest. Then, nothing else happened until Tuesday evening. Wednesday was a holiday, so some of my friends took the opportunity to go to an Irish pub to do karaoke. At some point, my best friend and I went to pee and touch up our makeup. Then Lindy and some of her friends walked in and kind of cornered us. It wasn't pretty. They started loudly talking about men stealing cows, and how some women were just born to be homewreckers, and imagine being pathetic enough to pretend to be a guy's friend to get him, and how pick-me's are the worst. They kept kind of edging us physically into the part where the hand dryers were while pretending we were not there. Until my best friend had enough and just pushed through them while pulling me behind her. We were almost at our table when Lindy went right behind me and pulled my hair so that I fell backward onto a metallic piece where you were supposed to put your feet. It hurt so bad that I started to see white. Then a girl next to Lindy poured beer on me. I cannot really tell you what happened, but there was a scuffle, and someone dropped one of those heavy pint glasses on my head. Lindy and her friends were taken away by police, and I was taken to the hospital. My parents were furious, as were Miles's parents. They both came to the hospital. I was severely concussed, my nose was fractured, and the worst thing is that I have a hairline fracture in my back. I stayed in the hospital till yesterday morning. Miles did try calling me a bunch. According to my parents, they told him not to visit me right now. I did get an official notice saying that apparently there was now a legal case open against Lindy and one other girl for not only assault but also public disturbance in the bar. So now I'll have to deal with all that legally. I finally talked to Miles. Long story short, those of you saying Lindy isolating him was a sign that a harmful relationship was right. He told me all the things she said to him to make him feel awful. She would freak out about anything in her life and take that out on him. She would scratch him and bite him when she was mad. Our talk ended with both of us crying and apologizing. We will be closer again. At least we can talk about these things more often. He broke up with her and is hiding at my parents' house. So that is it for now. Update 2. I'll update immediately and go into details later. Firstly, here has been an official court date set for my process against Lindy. It took 2 months to get and is another 3 months out, but something is something. As well as this, our lawyer said that Lindy is probably not going to jail as she is a first-time offender. If she goes to jail it would be no more than 3 months. Most likely she is going to have to pay a fee of 100 days of her income or something like that. I have let my father deal with this 100% because I have no head for it. And finally, there is a second lawsuit going on at the same time as now I am legally chronically ill. The hairline fracture was not a passing thing but developed. I am daily in pain. Not every day is bad, but not a day passes where I am not in at least a 2 on the pain scale. As a result, I have not been able to work. Right now my insurance pays 75% of my former income, and my workplace covers the rest. But I am probably going to get fired. So, my insurance filed a claim against Lindy to pay my lost wages. I am right now not in contact with Miles. I tried to be supportive, but being disabled by his jealous ex-girlfriend made me bitter against him. He was a victim. But now I can't live my life. And I blame him partly for that. I am in therapy to work through all of that and have taken up some new hobbies. I have started to write more and looking into courses or online classes. Miles's parents have been apologetic and have supported me a lot. His mother has been a saint. She volunteered to drive me everywhere, and I have actually become friends with her. We even went to see Deadpool and Wolverine. She is a stay-at-home mom, so we have a lot of time. One of Lindy's friends reached out through my lawyer, offering a testimony against her own friend. She also sent a letter apologizing. To make it short, Lindy had told them I was bullying her and that Miles had once already cheated on her with me. So that's where we are right now. There's a long road ahead, and I'm sorry this update wasn't very positive. Take care and shield your back.
Story 5. My ex-wife spawned back into my life, 6 years after catching her cheat on me with her coworker, looking as stunning as ever and wanting to reconnect, so I'm feeling it's time to forgive and forget her mistakes. My ex and I met in college and were madly in love all 4 years in school. We got married after graduation in 2010. In 2013, I caught her in a year-plus affair with a coworker. I was crushed. She said they loved each other, soulmates, didn't mean to hurt anyone, blah blah blah. We divorced only 3 months later. I was crushed. Worst time in my life, I mourned for over a year. I heard they got married. One day, I decided I was tired of being sad, so I completely let go of her in my heart, got off my butt, and truly moved on. I'm a programmer by profession and decided to take a pre-sales solutions consultant gig with one of the biggest software companies on the planet. That job has been amazing. I've traveled the entire world, every continent, and all the major cities. Life has been a great adventure. I never did date seriously or remarry. I'm not opposed to casual dating and have dated beautiful women all over the globe. After my experience with marriage, I decided that wasn't my path and have been happy. Sometimes lonely, especially during holidays, but overall happy. I had decided enough traveling for a while, so I switched roles and am based in a major city in the US. I'm sitting in a diner on a Saturday morning eating breakfast and reading the news, Facebook, Reddit, etc., and somebody says, "Oh my God, is that you?" The voice sounded like one of my women friends at work, so I looked up to say hi, and my jaw dropped. It's my ex-wife. Here I am 2,000 plus miles away from our old hometown, haven't seen her in almost 6 years, and there she is. I was dumbstruck. All I could manage was hi. I hate to say it, but she looked beautiful. She said I looked amazing. She asked if I was busy and that she didn't want to bother me but that she'd love to talk. I said sure. We ended up talking for over 2 hours and continued for another couple of hours when we went for a walk in a nearby park. We were making small talk about mutual acquaintances, my stories of traveling the globe. Everything but the elephant in the room. She finally asked me if I had gotten remarried at any point. I said no, once was enough. She seemed sad by that. We walked in silence for maybe a minute, and she said, "I have to say that I'm so sorry for what I did to you. You didn't deserve it. It was incredibly crappy and has haunted me since it happened. You didn't do anything wrong." I said, "You fell in love with someone else and married them. I couldn't stop you from doing that. I wanted you to be happy." Then I asked, "Are you happy?" She laughed one of those joke laughs, ha. She told me they fought constantly, and he ended up cheating on her and leaving her 2 years into marriage. I said, "I'm sorry that happened to you. I know how bad that can hurt." She said she knew. That when her heart was broken, all she could think of was that she had done the same thing to me, and that tortured her. She said she fell apart for almost a year, engaged in very self-destructive behavior, and then went to therapy to figure out why she's so screwed up. She said that was extremely helpful, and several years ago, she finally grew up and holds herself accountable for her own actions now. She had ended up moving to this city because she has an aunt that she loves that lives there, and after her second divorce before age 30, she needed to make big changes in her life. The changes were noticeable. She's definitely more mature. I had to go and get ready for the evening with friends, so we said our goodbyes. We exchanged contact info and agreed to go have coffee and talk more. We have been doing that. We're both single. I guess there's no harm. I can tell she wants more from me. She wants me to want her back. She drops hints as big as the Pacific Ocean. I'm not dumb. I have to admit she still has that certain something that just makes my heart skip a beat. Something I can't describe. Something I hadn't found in anyone else since her. I guess it's chemistry between us. To be honest, I want to be more than friends. I want to hold her and kiss her. She wants that too, but as of yet, I've made zero moves. What holds me back? Fear. I'm afraid of getting hurt again. If she had been a casual girlfriend that dumped me, I would have shaken it off and moved on quickly. She wasn't, though. She was my wife and the love of my life. I used to dream of her somehow coming back into my life. Well, here it is, and I'm scared crapless. I don't know if I can give her that much of myself again. I'm way more protective of my heart now. We've both grown a lot, and the past seems like 100 years ago. If she wasn't who she is, I'd already be head over heels in love. I struggle with, do I pursue love with her again, or do I leave the past in the past? It sounds cliché, but it just had to be her. Of all the people I could have met here, it had to be her. Update. I've gotten so many requests for an update. I have one but was hesitant to post because in this sub, I'd take a lot of grief. The update is we got remarried over the Christmas holidays, and we're now pregnant. She has grown a lot as a person. So have I. We're not kids anymore. We're in an adult relationship, and it's much better than before. Throw in the chemistry we've always had, and it's wonderful. I couldn't be happier. I do want to address the accusations that she tracked me down. She didn't. She had moved to our current city before I did. She really had moved on, went to therapy, and had grown a lot as a person. I just happened to be in that diner. We think it had to be fate or some type of intervening force, a higher power. Neither of us are religious, but the astronomical odds of us running into each other, both single, and in a city neither of us had ever lived in, are hard to ignore. Obviously, the universe had a plan for us. I wish all of you good luck. My only advice is don't close your heart. You never know who will stroll into your life. Thanks. Story 6.
My boyfriend looked me dead in the eye and told me that my colleague is the only perfect 10 out of 10 he knows, so now I have to spend it every day at work envying her. For background, James and I met at uni during our bachelor's degree. He was in a relationship with someone else until the last year and we started dating about 6 months after that. I have never been this happy in a relationship before and we're on the same page about everything regarding future plans. I honestly feel like I'm behaving super silly, but given how long it's been I think I need some outside perspective. This conversation happened almost 2 years ago. At the time, we weren't official yet, but had been dating for a while and were on our first vacation together. We were talking about looks in general and as a game, he asked me to rate myself on a scale from 1 to 10 and I in turn, asked him back. Then he asked who I thought was a 10. I've always thought that the only people who are 10s are celebrities, because they get paid to look good plus photoshopped and whatnot. I just mentioned 1 or 2. I of course asked him back and he said well, I think Janice is a definite 10. So my heart sinks, because Janice was also in our class. I never knew her that well, a couple of conversations over the years, but she was never that involved in after-class activities or anything. And, as it happens, I had previously picked up on the fact that he seemed annoyed about the fact that she never joined the social stuff. As I aspire to approach situations as drama-less and logical as possible, I just say that I agree that she is good-looking. The thought nagged at me for a long while, but I decided to try and ignore it as best as possible while knowing that we just had a few months left until summer and everyone had their degree. In the fall I started my awesome job. There were 2 positions available when I applied, and guess who got the other one? Yes, you are correct, it was Janice. So now, we are colleagues and I see her every damn day. She's nice and we get along well. But the fact that I have to see her every day ends up in me comparing us, and I am so annoyed with myself for it. And like 2 to 4 times a month, I'm in bed, and the comment pops into my head and my heart sinks. A few months ago, after a lot of drinks and our first real discussion about something unrelated, but sort of tangent, I brought it up. Keep in mind, things were a bit heated due to the other discussion. I said something along the lines of, I know this might be stupid to bring up, as there isn't really anything you can do about it, but it's been bothering me. And after I explained, he looked me in the eye and said, well, I can't do anything about that, I think Janice is the perfect 10. So, let's just say that didn't help. Now, I've obviously thought about this a lot, and I think one of the main reasons this is bothering me so much is that I've never been one to focus too much on looks. I do my makeup in like 5 minutes and just put on clothes without much thought. It's honestly something I've always prided myself on, considering the people I hung around with while growing up cared a lot. James, however, cares about looks. This is also the first relationship I'm in where I'm honestly afraid that I have more feelings than the other person. This fear was exacerbated by the fact that I had to push for us to become official, as he said it wasn't really that important to be official and because it was a very short time after his relationship with his ex ended. So, kind people of the internet, please give me some advice on how to forget this or handle it better than I'm doing now. What would you do? Edit. Just to make this clear, I agree the rating system is immature. A lot of people are saying I should dump him over this, and I just want to make it clear that you are now hearing about the worst thing that has happened during our relationship, which I honestly think is a good indication that we really do have a great relationship. While I agree it was a thoughtless thing for him to say, at this point, this is really my problem. I've gotten some good advice and observations in the comments. Thank you. Edit 2. I'm seeing a lot of comments about the timing of when I brought the issue up, so I should probably explain why I felt it was relevant to our conversation at the time. When I said he cares about looks, it's mostly due to his passion for clothes. While it's not one of my own interests, I've actually learned a great deal about it during our time together and respect the fact that he cares. We were meeting a couple who were friends of his, and it was my first time meeting them. He told me as I was coming out of the shower that I should mind what I was putting on and to remember that they, too, care about fashion, which he knows I do not. This honestly pissed me off and made me feel less than, so I brought it up when we got home. Update. I love updates, so I figured I should give one for this post, 5 years on. It's a bit hard to remember details after 5 years, but we had a big blowout sometime after I posted this. I snapped at one point after he pushed the issue when I had told him I didn't want to talk about it, and ended up telling him how mean that was, aka the later comment, "Well, I can't do anything about that, I think Janice is the perfect 10, and how insecure it made me." He realized that the comment was unnecessary and apologized. However, I got into a funk for a couple of days after the confrontation, partly due to the comments on this post that were quite harsh. He got super worried when I was subdued after 3 or so days, and he apologized profusely and said he would work on his stubbornness, communication, and be better at complimenting me. In addition, he explained that the comment was partly due to the style of communication he and his ex had, where each of them just dug themselves deeper into their positions when they had any sort of disagreement. I'm happy to say that he did improve massively. He is still stubborn and can still quickly go on the offense in discussions we have, but we are now married, he proposed, have a 1.5-year-old boy, and we are happy. This remains one of our biggest arguments to date. Side note, I changed jobs, but so did Janice, and we ended up at the same firm, again. So we are still colleagues, but there are 1,000 plus people at our office, so I don't see her as much nowadays. I still catch myself interested in what she posts on social media, but that's about it. I rarely think about her or this situation. Relevant comments. Bruh, the whole 1 to 10 rating system is ridiculous. There is no objective 10, my friends think that my type is ugly as hell, and I think their types are as boring as a piece of white bread. But why the hell would you rate another woman, who is not your spouse, higher than your actual spouse unless you want to hurt them? I have no idea. Like, if I like someone they would be the most beautiful person in the world for me, even if objectively they look like Quasimodo. To all the people that say that truth matters, it's only your truth. If you genuinely think that whatever celebrity is hotter than your partner, well, I think that they are not hotter than mine. Yes, really. Like I can't comprehend feeling that the person you love is not the hottest thing in the entire world. Even if they are old, sick or disfigured.
Story 7. My wife just spent all of our hard-earned life savings, so I'm about to lose my head and don't know what to do. Last month, my wife and I flew in her sister and her family of 2 to help us raise our 2-month-old daughter. We're a working couple, but she's still on her maternity leave. The tension began when her sister and family needed to do a visa run. Essentially, this means they need to leave the country and fly to another country to get a visa to stay here. Since we asked them for a favor to help us out with our daughter, at first I didn't mind that my wife was the one booking their plane tickets and hotel accommodation for the visa run. But then, instead of a smooth in and out process, it became one problem after another. First, we dropped them off at the airport and they realized they needed a visa to enter the country they were going to. We all thought it was visa-free. So, my wife spent our money to get their visa expedited. That also meant we had to rebook their flights with, guess what? Our money. Second, this morning on the return leg, my wife received a notification from the airline that the flight was delayed. So, she passed on the message to her sister. Her sister then decided to arrive at the airport later because the delay was 3+ hours. However, what my wife and her sister failed to notice was a clause in the notification stating that the check-in time remained the same. So, when her sister and family arrived at the airport, the check-in gate was closed and they couldn't board. So again, my wife spent our money to book new flights for them plus new hotel accommodation for a couple of days. All told, 80% of our savings are gone because of this whole exercise. She did apologize to me for spending our money, but I just can't shake the feeling of, we worked our asses off for those savings and God knows we need it. The real kicker is that she's considering leaving her job to take care of our daughter, which would leave me as the sole source of income in the household. We're already in a situation where I keep less than 5% of my paycheck and give everything to bills and savings. But after this whole visa run, I'm hours away from telling my wife to stop babying her older sister. I mean, the sister and her husband prepared savings for their journey to help us out. Why don't they spend it? Is it because we're the ones asking for a favor? Anyway, that's my predicament now. I haven't spoken to my wife yet since I woke up and headed to work. I'm still ambivalent about how I feel about this because I feel my decision in the next couple of hours could mean I'm a husband that doesn't understand or I'm a wuss for letting my wife spend all our money just like that. What do you guys think? Relevant comments. So if 80% of your savings can be eaten up by 3 extra plane tickets and expedited visas, it sounds like you don't actually have a lot of savings. You both must be under a lot of stress right now, and it sucks that you're dealing with your stress by getting mad at her, and she's dealing with her stress by trying to get her family into the country to help even if it eats your savings. But this situation doesn't sound like one of carelessness, but one of desperation. You two need to learn to talk about your stresses and make a game plan in both of your interests. I checked original posters' comment history and they own or owned a Mustang, which are expensive as frick, seems to have a thriving Hot Wheels collection and plays multiple video games, which again can be expensive if you go all out and buy extras. This just looks like a clear case of people not understanding their financial obligations and burdens before having children then crying about having no money to support said child. Update 1. I had a conversation with my wife and it was a weight off my shoulders. We decided together to set boundaries on how much we're spending on our in-laws. I haven't opened up the matter of her quitting her job, one problem at a time. Some extra info. Yes, I drive a Mustang, owned it for 3 years, my wife helped me buy it and it's going to be paid off in 2 months. I also collect diecasts using that 5% of my salary. Everything else goes to bills and savings. The savings I'm talking about here were meant for us to migrate elsewhere, but now it looks like we're back to square one in terms of saving up. We live in the UAE. Update 2. Thanks, everyone, for making me realize this is the price I pay for being disengaged in the process. I should have done my due diligence and helped my wife out with checking and verifying information. Plus, I never thought of looking at it from an employer or employee perspective since they're family, so I looked at it through that lens. Your comments made me realize it's not a you deal with your family or I deal with mine type of deal. We, as a couple, gotta look out for each other's backs. Update 3. We might get some money back because the airline they initially booked is willing to give us a refund. Apparently, other passengers were affected by the 3+ hour delay and missed the plane. Silver lining, I guess. This is my final update. Man, everyone here has been brutally honest and it stings, yes, but it's much needed. Thank you all. Story 8.
My bestie admitted to me that she did some unspeakable things with my boyfriend in the back of his car, but he denies everything, so one of them is lying and trying to ruin my life, and I don't know who to believe. I've been best friends with Lisa since 2010. We were college roommates, and even after graduation, we continued living together until I moved in with my boyfriend, Sam, in 2019. One thing about Lisa is that she's always had a drink problem, and she's done things while drunk that have sometimes caused problems in our friendship. She does try to stay sober, but every few years, something triggers her again, which happened earlier this summer. Last Saturday, Lisa called me because she was drunk somewhere and needed a ride home. I couldn't pick her up because I had the flu and was on cold medicine, so Sam went to get her instead. A couple of days after that, I started noticing that Sam was acting strange with his phone. Normally, he leaves it out on the coffee table if we're watching TV or whatever, but he started putting it face down, so I couldn't see his notifications. My first thought was that he was planning a surprise, and given the timing, I thought maybe Lisa was helping him. Yesterday, when I saw Lisa, I told her that Sam was being sneaky all of a sudden and asked if he had mentioned anything about proposing soon. She asked if I had looked through his phone, and I said no. Lisa started crying and told me that she and Sam had got together in his car the night he picked her up. Her excuse was that she was very drunk and didn't fully know what she was doing. She said she'd been texting him since, telling him he needed to tell me what happened or she would. I asked Lisa to show me the texts, but they were all an app that deletes messages after a day. All I could see was that she and Sam had a chat thread, but not what they said. I told her to text Sam in front of me so I could see his response. She did, but we got no read receipt or response, so it didn't prove anything. I asked Lisa if she was sure she wasn't so drunk that she maybe imagined it or thought a dream was real, and she became very angry, insisting she knew what happened and wasn't making it up. She said it was my choice to believe her or not, but she was telling the truth. I told her I needed to go home and talk to Sam. When I got home, I confronted Sam with what Lisa had said. He acted shocked and denied anything had happened. He said he had just given Lisa a ride home and they only talked about how long he and I had been together and how we should get married already. He admitted they were talking on Signal the next couple of days but said it was about engagement rings and proposal ideas. Sam replied to Lisa's message from before, asking if she made up the story about them hooking up to avoid ruining the surprise about his proposal. She texted back, saying there was no proposal and to stop playing dumb. Sam then called her, pretending I wasn't in the room, and told her she needed to stop whatever she was trying to do because we were on the verge of breaking up. Lisa kept telling Sam to stop lying until he got angry and hung up. I really didn't know what to think and I still don't. Right now, Sam is very upset and not really talking to me. He says it's bad enough that Lisa acted insane and ruined his plan to propose, but it's even worse that I believed her lies even a little and would think he would ever cheat on me. Lisa texted me saying she was sorry, but otherwise, I haven't talked to her. I don't want to think that Sam would cheat on me or take advantage of Lisa if she was that drunk, but I feel like I can't be 100% sure. I've known Lisa for 13 years, and I can't believe she'd lie about something this important. I know she has a drinking problem, so I can believe she'd sleep with my boyfriend if she was drunk out of her head. She's done some pretty awful things in the past when drunk. I don't want to wrongly accuse Sam of something he didn't do, but I don't want to be naive either. Relevant comments. Is there any proof of his proposal? Google search, phone calls to jewelers, etc. This is a tough situation. It reminds me of a post about a girl who broke up with her boyfriend because her friends told her he cheated on her, only to find out they lied to her years later. Is there a dashcam in the car? In my experience, I was in a situation where I saw a cheater. So let me tell you this, does your gut say to believe her? Like you don't want to believe your boyfriend could have done this, but you also feel he could have? I once saw my brother's girlfriend at the time making out with another guy in the club. I told him, and he got upset, saying I was lying and just wanted to hurt him. He didn't believe me. I had no proof, just my emotions of rage and wanting my brother to know his girlfriend was cheating. He stayed with her until a friend of his caught her cheating too. Sometimes, we only believe those we feel can do us no harm. The feelings of love muddled his truth. Update 1. On Thursday night, after getting advice, I told Sam I had found a way to recover deleted messages from Signal, the app they messaged on. He immediately took out his phone, opened the app, and asked me to show him how to do it. This made me think he was telling the truth because he didn't panic or hesitate at all. It turned out my old phone couldn't support the current version of the app, so it wouldn't work. Sam then asked if we needed to buy a new phone for me to believe him. I told him it wasn't that I didn't believe him, but I wanted proof because I couldn't understand why Lisa would lie. Sam said she would lie because she's a crazy drunk and there's no way to understand her actions. He then said we should go to the Verizon store before it closed. By then, I believed Sam anyway, so I told him we didn't need to go anywhere. I believed he didn't cheat on me. Sam said he hoped I knew that and didn't understand why I didn't take his word for it initially. I tried to explain why I didn't want to immediately dismiss what Lisa said, but Sam said he couldn't listen to that right now. I agreed to cut Lisa off, but I wanted to try to get her to admit nothing happened. Sam agreed but wanted me to call her with my phone on speaker. I called Lisa and said I figured out how to recover deleted messages on Signal. She asked why I needed to do that, so I knew she was making it up. I said I wanted proof of what she and Sam talked about. Lisa asked if I saw their messages, and I lied and said yes. Lisa went silent until I asked if she was going to say anything. She then asked if that meant we were engaged. I lost it and screamed at her, asking if she was serious and what was wrong with her. Lisa screamed back, telling me to calm down and saying I never believed her anyway because we didn't break up. I was crying and couldn't say anything else. Sam told Lisa to go away and never contact us again, then hung up on her. A minute later, Lisa sent me a completely unhinged text. Courtney, you are supposed to be my friend for life. You are supposed to be there for me. You are supposed to be my person. But then you meet Sam, and now you only care about Sam. Everything is about Sam. Tell me why Sam comes to pick me up when I call you? I called you, not your precious Sam. I only want you to see how messed up this is, but do you? No. Of course, you don't. Of course, you choose Sam over me like you always do and like you always will. You pretend to care about me, but I can see you don't care. It is pathetic, Courtney. You are a pathetic woman who would choose a man over a friend. But since you can't say it yourself, I will. Since you have to have your sweet, perfect little baby Sam do it for you, I will. Goodbye, Courtney. Is that what you want? Goodbye forever. I hope you got what you want. There were 3 dots after that, showing she was still typing more, but I blocked her before she sent it. I don't care about anything else she has to say, it's all just going to be more about why this is my fault or justifications for why what she did wasn't that bad and I should forgive her. I know Sam is probably right and there's no logic behind why Lisa would stoop to this level. My best guess is that whoever said Lisa blames me and Sam, mostly Sam, for her being a mess who can't get her life together, is right. She somehow thought that if she said she hooked up with Sam, I'd break up with him but still want to be friends with her, and everything would be fixed. Regarding Sam, I asked if he could ever forgive me for doubting him. He said that since I came to my senses and cut Lisa off, we could try to put it behind us. I don't think he's going to propose anytime soon, though. He didn't actually do any planning yet, just asking Lisa about rings and proposal ideas. So, it's not going to happen for a while if it still does at all. Thanks to everyone for the advice and support. If anything important happens, I'll update again, but I hope this will be the end of it for me. Update 2. I haven't logged into this account for about a year, but I got a few messages asking for an update, so here it is. I'll keep it as short as I can. Unfortunately, I have nothing good to report. It turned out that whatever was going on with Lisa that caused her to make false accusations about Sam was the beginning of some kind of a psychotic break. After I blocked her, she made a bunch of fake accounts and started sending me unhinged messages about how I ruined her life and threatening to get revenge on me and Sam. This went on for months, with her sending dozens of messages a day. I found out from other friends that she was making multiple posts on Facebook every day, ranting about how much she hated me and how I was evil and ruined her life. I tried to talk to the police twice to get a restraining order because I was afraid Lisa would show up at our apartment and attack me or Sam. I even got a front door camera because I was so scared. The police said that because Lisa wasn't threatening actual violence, she was just a nuisance, and they couldn't do anything. They told me to keep blocking her new accounts, and eventually, she'd get bored and move on. Finally, someone broke the windshield of Sam's car while he was parked at work. It could have been a random act of vandalism because his wasn't the only car with broken windows, but I was sure it was Lisa, so I went to the police again. An officer talked to Lisa, and she denied touching Sam's car. I have no proof that she did. After the police talked to her, Lisa was put into a psych ward for a week because her apartment was filthy, and she was drunk 24/7 and a danger to herself. I haven't heard from Lisa since she left the psych ward. I don't know if she was diagnosed or is medicated now. I found out she moved in with her dad, who lives in a different state. I check her social media occasionally to ensure she's not posting about me and isn't near me. I haven't mentioned Sam much because we're no longer together. He broke up with me after the windshield incident because he couldn't handle being harassed by Lisa, and I don't think he ever forgave me for not taking his side immediately. It hurt, but I can't blame him. I tried to talk to him about fixing things after Lisa was gone, but he wasn't interested. It's a sad ending, sorry.
Story 9.
My pastor husband secretly impregnated a community member from church and told me that it was God's plan, so should I listen to him and adopt his affair baby? I, 29 feet, and my husband, 44 meters, have been together for 5 years and married for 2. I met him at the church I started going to when I moved cities to start my career. I work for an insurance company and he's a pastor. I know that we have a notable age gap, but he was always kind to me and made me feel special. Anyhow, a week ago he came home and told me we needed to talk. He told me through tears that he had been having an affair with one of our community members, 34F, and that she had been pregnant with twins. She had gone into labor, she and one of the twins died, and the other is in the NICU. He said we need to step up, and that he wants me to turn my office into a nursery and set up a cot in the room so we can take turns. I became distressed and told him I wanted some time to think. I was not sure I wanted to do this. He told me that I had made a vow to him in marriage and that God had blessed us with a child. That this is our cross to bear and that God will never give us something we cannot handle. I told him that it seemed God had given her more than she could handle because she had died. I know I should not have, but I was not thinking correctly. He slapped me and told me that I needed to serve my husband. That God had chosen me as this child's mother and I needed to be his humble servant. I just feel so strange. Yesterday I cried so hard I threw up. This woman died, yet I feel bad for myself. I feel so ugly. I wanted children and was saving for IVF because I am infertile, but now that I have a chance to have a child and I do not want it. I feel like I'd be robbing its mother's grave. I pray to God, but if I'm being honest, it's never felt like anyone was ever listening. I feel like I have truly seen my husband and he no longer looks kind, he looks his age and very tired. I want to abandon him and the child. I'm only 29, I can start over. I have a remote job, I can take a day off when he goes to the NICU, pack my essentials and leave. Neither he nor the child deserves this, and although this is my circus, that is not my monkey. Relevant comments. Leave, leave, leave. You cannot trust this man. You have absolutely no obligation to become his mistress's child's mom. This isn't Sister Wives. This is all a very unfortunate and sad situation, but you are a hurt party here. God didn't tell him to knock up a woman outside of his marriage. This whole thing was of your husband's own making. He is trying to coerce you by abusing y'all's religion for his own selfish wants. No, no, no. Isn't it in the Bible that if your eyes tempt you to sin that you should gouge your eyes out? Well, I'm assuming his eyes are pretty much intact, aren't they? And the cherry on top is he felt so self-righteous in that moment to slap you after everything he's done. No. Girl, you better love yourself to leave. That's the hard part. I always have felt like I was never on anyone's radar and just their back burner. He made me feel special and loved, but this last week, I feel like I've seen past that. Although I was old enough to decide to be in an age gap relationship, I feel like he had no business being with someone my age. I'm 29 now, and I would feel wrong being with someone 24. I spent my whole life accepting second best, and now that the one person who put me first has now put me last, I feel like I just see it all now. I feel used. Please don't let this man use God to manipulate you. The very fact that he takes no responsibility for his own actions but claims that it is God who has blessed you with this situation shows how little respect he has for you. When you got married, he vowed to be faithful to you and he broke that vow. Let him sow the fruit of what he reaped, and please don't be manipulated by someone who has shown he doesn't care about you. He didn't even admit his infidelity until his affair partner died and left him a child. What do you think would have happened if she hadn't died? That's just it though, looking past the situation itself, he doesn't care about me and only pretended to. I finally found someone who put me first and it was a lie. I feel like such a gullible idiot. A 39-year-old man was interested in a 24-year-old woman because they had the same interests? Really? I feel so stupid for not seeing it when I can so clearly see it now. Update 1. I just want to thank y'all for the support. I'm still processing this all, and I just need a little time. I don't feel unsafe, just unloved, just not enough. My husband did apologize for slapping me and continues to express regret, but he can't take it back. Just as he cannot take back impregnating another woman, which ultimately killed her. I'm just feeling so disillusioned with my whole life right now. I know I should leave. I know that there is a world out there that will not treat me like this, but I am scared of change. I'm working on a plan to leave and getting my ducks in a row for when I'm ready to go, but I am not sure when I would leave if I choose to. Many express that I should make a report to the police about him slapping me, and they're probably right, but that would likely cause me more problems than it would be worth. If I leave, it might make him want to contest the divorce more, and if I stay, it would cause more tension. I've been working on my left hook, though, because I won't let him get away with it again. I'm not violent myself, but I'm down for a tussle, because although I'm hurt, I am angry. I'm not sure if there will be an update, because I'm still unsure. I can make all the plans in the world, but the change scares me almost as much as bending to his will. I've been praying about it, but I see no clear answers or guidance. I don't know. Funny thing, I'm jealous of the people saying that this is fake. It's like I want my life to be like it was 2 weeks ago. I could read a crazy story on the internet and think, wow, that's crazy, seems kind of fake, and keep scrolling and go about my life. Only I can't scroll away in real life because that's just not how life works. I don't owe anyone proof of my life tragedies, least of all strangers on the internet whom I will never meet. I do thank all who have given support. I wish I could tell you I packed my bags and left his sorry ass, but I'm not strong enough to yet. It's not that easy to do in real life, as it turns out. Odd. Update 2. I left. If that's all you wanted to know, there it is. For those of you asking how the other woman died, I get it. I invited you into my business. It was an amniotic fluid embolism. I don't know much about those, but I guess when they happen, things go wrong really, really fast. We lived in a more rural area, so they just weren't ready for something like that to happen. I didn't leave right away, as I know now that I should have. It just wasn't that easy. I stayed for 2 months. I knew if I did not at least try to make it work, I would not be able to live with it. Not because I wanted to save my marriage, but because what ifs keep me up at night enough as is. I went to marriage counseling with my husband, but it was ultimately fruitless. Of course, it was Christian counseling. I felt like their goal was for me to forgive him rather than actually trying to help me. I was so utterly alone during that time. My parents and brother are also very religious, so even though they weren't happy with my husband, they kept urging me to do what a good Christian wife would do. I spent so much time suffering in my own head that I began to realize that I was just going through the motions, doing what I thought people expected of me. I entered a state of derealization for a time, and that was an absolute mind FCK. The feeling of nothing being real, not even myself, was horrible. During this period, my husband brought his baby home, and while he tried to split the care 50-50 at first, he ultimately didn't trust me to look after the baby because I was lost in space. So he ended up being the primary provider. When I was with the baby, all I could think about was how its existence ruined my life. It'd look at me with big blue eyes, and I would just wish it would disappear. I would actively spend time resenting a baby. There was a time when I was thinking to myself and I wished it would stop breathing. That was when I knew that I needed to leave. I was blaming a baby and wishing ill upon it, and that was not okay to do. I don't remember much about this time besides that, it's mostly a blur otherwise. I sought services through my work to talk to a therapist, and I eventually came back to earth. She helped me make a plan. At no point did I fear my husband. I truly believe the slap was a one-off event. However, screw him, he doesn't deserve closure. On a night he had a long Bible study, he always took his baby with him because he didn't trust me. I packed my essentials and dipped. I met him pretty quickly after college, so I did not have much to take as far as furnishings. I fit everything I wanted in 3 suitcases and 4 moving boxes. It all fit into my SUV after some mediocre Tetris skills. I was able to change my phone number online before I left, but I did leave the divorce papers under his pillow with my lawyer's contact info. Kind of like the Tooth Fairy but for adult assholes. I was the breadwinner. In my state, we were not married long enough for me to pay spousal maintenance, at least that is what my lawyer said. I owned my vehicle outright, we had our own bank accounts and a shared expenses account, we filed taxes separately, and the church owns the house. He's being an ass about it all, but I'm hoping it should be done soon. I got a decent apartment in a city a few hundred miles away. I've never lived in a city this big before, everything is so expensive, but besides that, I like it. I found a new therapist, met some new friends, and found a new church with loving people. I still have my days, but for the most part, I'm content. I think it will always hurt on some level, but I'm working on taking my power back. I turn 30 next month, and I am hopeful it will be the start of my best decade yet. Thanks for all the help, everyone. Update 3. I am officially 30, hip hip hooray.